Richie Perez, tres palabras, 3 words. Translation, I love you. Thank you, Mama Tosca's Restaurant, for hosting this interview. Mama, Papa, Tony, Luigi, and the entire family of Mama Tosca's Restaurant, we love you. All about you, Mama Tosca. Richie Perez, tres palabras. I'm here with Richie Perez. Richie Perez, he's a famous jazz saxophone player. Mr. Perez, I'm very fortunate to have you here with me today. Where do you reside?
I live here in Kern County, and I went to high school here, but I was also, when I was young, I was born in West Texas.
In West Texas, whereabouts?
San Angelo.
Oh, I don't believe I've ever been there.
Yeah, it's really cold up there. It gets really cold. Parents came from Del Rio, Texas. And my dad was a professional baker in the bakery business, a hard worker. And my mother was a housewife.
She was?
Oh, yeah, a housewife.
You said they spoiled you?
Oh,
Your
yes.
parents? When did you learn to play the sax?
It's about, I started kind of late, probably 14 or 15. I went to a dance and I saw this big band. And what attracted me was all the shiny saxophones in front. And I just fell in love with the music and sound. I couldn't sleep when I went home that night, and then I told my dad, I want a saxophone.
Oh.
And in 2 days, he bought it for me.
Oh, how wonderful. That is so nice.
So I started with a teacher, but then he wasn't teaching me anything. He was too square, and I wanted to play jazz. So from there, I started practicing and playing with different artists. They came in town here in Kern County, and a local DJ went to my house, and he told me that our Muddy Waters saxophonist got sick, wanted a replacement, and the DJ knew where I lived, and they went and got permission from my father to go and audition for Muddy Waters. Took me to the motel, and here's Muddy Waters and all the band in this little room in the motel, and he was smoking a joint. And then he told me, take your horn out and play some blues. And I took my horn out and played some blues, and he said, okay, you're hired.
Just like that?
Yeah, I'll give you $20 Friday, $20 Saturday. And that was it. That was my start.
Wonderful.
Muddy Waters, yeah.
You must have been on top of the world.
Oh yeah, and being the only Hispanic to ever work with Muddy Waters, I was 15 years old.
It's really young to be starting.
And these guys
to
were already in
perform.
their 40s, yeah, their 40s, yeah. So.
When did you come to California?
1947. Of course, it was different. California. My dad got a job at a bakery here in Kern County, and he was really successful. And went to high school, BHS, and I started playing with some of the jazz groups there in the high school band.
BHS, that is Bakersfield High School?
Yes. I used to do a lot of assemblies, and I wasn't afraid to go out there and play by myself in front of all the students. You know, I wasn't embarrassed. I won a lot of talent shows.
Oh, how wonderful. That's so great.
Then I started listening to jazz, the great artists, and my favorite was Stan Getz and Lester Young.
Yes, I've heard those names.
Dexter Gordon, Art Pepper. And I fell in love with that feel, that sound. I started playing what I loved. And
jazz.
Yeah, it was quite an experience working with older guys, because that's the way I learned. I was 17, 18. I was working with guys that were already 40, 45 years old. One of the best saxophonists from Kern County, his name was Bill Chironas. Bill Chironas. He was Greek. And he was one of my mentors right here in Kern County. He was brilliant saxophonist. He was born here in Kern County, and he was the only sibling. And he was such a big, gentle guy, but he could play. He played with Benny Goodman. He played with Perez Brown, big bands up in Vegas. And he got to play with Henry Bussey, a lot of great artists. And he used to come and see his mother here in Kern County. And we used to hang around together.
So you played with the greats?
Yeah, he was an amazing player. And he taught me a lot. And he told me, don't give up, Richie, don't give up. And here I am going to high school and hanging around with this giant saxophonist, travel all over the country. He died really young because of his drug addiction.
Like a lot of musicians do, right?
Oh, yeah. I work with a lot of great artists. And there was a trumpet player named Bob White. Also worked with some of the great jazz artists all over the world. And he also died, in fact, Bob White gave me my first job when I was 17. And there again, I was making, like $10, something like that.
Oh, yes, back in those days.
Yeah, but it was a learning process, a
lot of experience.
Yeah, with the greats. And then I started working with Latin groups. I worked with Louis Cruz Beltran for a while. He's up in Los Angeles now, working with a big band. I worked with him, and I also worked with a lot of great blues artists. Johnny Guitar Watson was one of the other players that I worked with. Jimmy McCracklin, the blues and the blues players. I started working at the Cotton Club here in Kern County with nothing but black artists.
Oh, how did you like that?
Oh, it was like going to college, learning so much. I was working with a guitar player named Fred Haley, really handsome-looking black gentleman, real young. All of us were real young, and we were doing like 3 shows a night, and also on drums with Elton Gordon and the bass player. It was just really a learning experience. I got pictures when I was working with them, and now they're all gone. All the guys in the band. Sylvester Lyons, Fred Haley, and Elton Gordon. They're all really beautiful people.
I'm so happy you're here.
And
that's, life is short. It's nice that we met, and there's going to be a lot of people listening to this, so it's an inspiration for them. People think that it's all about the money, but it's not always about the money. It's about getting started with your passion, your love, and your talent, whatever that may be. You don't have to be a professional musician, but you got to get started somehow.
Oh yeah, you have to learn, and you have to love it. You have to love it with a passion, and you got to practice. I practice every day, and that's what you have to do. You got to dedicate yourself to any endeavor that you have. If you're going to be an attorney, you're going to be a doctor, and a musician. It's tough. It's hard. It's really, anything is hard, but.
Right.
But you gotta love it though, and to survive with this being an artist is not easy, because there's so many people that want to take advantage of you, and they want to get you started in the drug scene,
Yes.
And I had so much love for my parents. I kept away from that.
That's admirable.
Oh yeah, I see so many of my friends, by the time they were 35, 45 years old, they OD'd, because of the drugs.
Sad.
Yeah. That's why I tend to cry.
That's all right. It's all right to cry. But again, I'm so happy that you're here with us today. It's all about you, you know.
Thank you.
That's where it starts, right here. Your corazón, it
Oh,
starts
yeah.
right here. Tell me some of the places that you play.
Well, right now I'm currently working at Cafe Med. I'll be there tonight, 7 to 11. I've been there working 6 years. 6 years.
6
yeah.
years?
And it's a beautiful place. And in fact, I was telling you about Dolores Huerta, one
Sí.
of my good friends and my followers, you know. And she loves my music, and she's a really fine dancer.
Oh, really? And
Yeah.
she's how old? How old is she?
I don't know, but she's got to be in her 80s already. But I met her and Cesar Chavez back in 1977, and they both like jazz, and they like the Latin jazz and so on.
Is there anything else that you would love for me to know, like support groups, or for people to know foundations, events that you get involved in?
I currently am a member of the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, and of course they have a lot of activities, and they call me to perform. And I meet people from banking, from finance, from different fields, and they always have a good time. And from there, you know, they hire me for different functions. So,
Oh, yes.
and like I told you, this coming Saturday, I got a wedding in close to Oakland, California,
Yes.
for a doctor. His son is getting married, so they hired me to do this gig.
That's wonderful.
I
All about you.
I like to say that also in Los Angeles, I got to play with Jack Shelton. I got to play with the famous saxophonist Zoot Sims and Shelly Man, one of the giants of the drummers of Los Angeles. And there were so many great artists. Ricky Woodard, I got to play with him too, a fine saxophonist.
Fantastic. That's just phenomenal and amazing. What would you say to young people who have a passion for music or an instrument? What would your words of encouragement be to them?
The young people are real lucky because they have programs in school, elementary school and high school and universities, and there's so many talented people. And you should strive to get in there, and if you want to learn a vocalist, a dancer, or play any instrument, you should really, you know, put that endeavor and work for it, you know. There's a lot of opportunities for the young people. And hang around with the good people.
Good association, right?
And stay away from people that want to do harm to you, and they want to get you involved with drugs, which is the worst thing you can do, you know.
Right.
And you got to think about your parents, because they give you everything. They give you life. They give you everything. So.
I love what you just said. I love the words of encouragement about good association. It starts with you right here, all about you. And this is a fantastic, wonderful opportunity that I've had today to be with Richie Perez. Richie Perez, what about your beautiful saxophone?
Oh yes, my saxophone. It's the top of the line, considered the Selmer Mark VI, the Mark VI, of course. And I bought this from Emilio Lyons in Boston. And they call him Emilio Lyons. He's a famous sax doctor who has done a lot of work with all the greats and giants of the saxophone. And I got this 4 years ago. Like I said, it's a 1968 Selmer Mark VI. And it's a beautiful horn, and beautiful. I love it. And the mouthpiece is one of a kind. Is a Bobby Dukoff, 1946. 1946. Older than you.
Thank you.
Anyway, so that's about it. And I use a fiber cell lead, fiber cell number 5. If some of the youngsters want to learn about the setup. They call it the setup.
Okay. So it's called the setup for those of you that want to learn something about saxophones.
All right. Wonderful.
All right.
Thank you. Thank you.